Hello everyone and welcome to today's No FOMO Charts Stocks and Crypto YouTube video. Today is Monday, September 1st, 2025. It's about 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the USA. We had a holiday today and that's over now. Welcome everyone. This is an investing and trading YouTube channel. So to kick things off and start, Bitcoin and crypto is showing some 4-hour MACD bullish potential momentum, whereas in some stock indexes, there are 4-hour bearish momentum potential setups. Let's look at crypto first. Bitcoin has made a lower low in the price. We bounced off of around $107,000 Bitcoin zone. And in terms of the 4-hour bullish momentum, we're starting to see it. We had lower lows in the price, and we're seeing higher highs in the MACD and the RSI as well. And most recently, just today, overnight, the price went sideways, had a nice double bottom. So the two setups I'm preparing myself for is if we happen to establish that low, I have to give some room here. Let's get an ATR up. So about 1200, it's about 2400 is at least 2 times. So there's about a 2.5% or 3% volatility. And so eventually, perhaps in a month or 45 days, we might see Bitcoin go up about maybe 6% up from this spot, which would take us to about 117,000. But it has to break out above this trend line, which it just barely did right now, today. So people are coming back from this holiday weekend, and we're all seeing this bullish momentum that's forming in the past 1 to 2 days. So it is possible that we could pop out intraday, we get overbought, and then pull back, and then try to keep a rally intact. Now, the other bearish scenario that I'm preparing for if this fails is because this zone is happening at a previous level of resistance. It's still resistance in the yellow box here. I'll highlight it in blue. That zone was about 110,500. We did have this little flash crash out of here, and then we established a hammer candle on the daily. So just in case, the bearish scenario is it could actually pull back if we have bad news in the next couple of days, and then make one more leg down, and then I might buy that down there because by that time, it might really kick out of the Bollinger Band at 105.5K and such. But if we look at this daily chart right here in the linear regression, we did happen to dip out of that second deviation on the bottom side, and we established hammer candle, higher low on the intraday. So this looks like the real one to me. Okay, let's go to Ethereum. And the real one, I mean the real 4-hour MACD bullish momentum, as long as I have a stop loss in there. So very similar right now. Ethereum has not been 100% correlated or 80, 90% like it usually is with Bitcoin. It's different now. So Ethereum had to take it with a little bit of caution because it's such a hot crypto right now. I'm going to call it a symmetrical triangle. We're also seeing the same pattern where we had this lower lows in the price with the higher highs in the MACD momentum. And we also had that double bottom just above 4,300 with a hammer candle. The only problem is that it is consolidating pretty high right now. But as long as we hold above 4,200, definitely above 4,100, then we're probably okay. This might be a real bounce here. And the bounce, it might not go 20% up in a short period of time. It's just really 4% range. Try to target at least to 6-8%. And the symmetrical triangle, if I take a conservative sample, could be about 8% pop up to about 4,800. Watching for that. Let's go to XRP. Ripple. Very similar. 4-hour, we could see we had lower lows, lower highs in the price for this entire month. Then we hit a support zone. Remember, it's a zone. It's not just one price line. Similar lower lows in the price and making higher highs in the momentum, but this one is not as strong as Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a much stronger 4-hour momentum. However, this could still be a decent trade if we establish that support level. The ATR, 10 cents, about 3.5%. It was backtested 2 times, so we might get at least a little bit of a relief rally, maybe 6%. I remember last time on my Solana trade and my Link trade, I'll go over it at the end, but Solana ended up going like 15% from the exact spot I talked about last week. So sometimes the charts just works perfectly. Sometimes. Let's go to Cardano. This is all tracking Bitcoin, by the way. Whatever Bitcoin does, most altcoins just follow. It's very algorithmic robot trading. So that's why when things get extreme, if we have an extreme crash, sometimes Bitcoin can be a little bit more predictable, because if Bitcoin, for example, crashes hard and all altcoins do that, that's how last week I knew from experience, if everything's down -10 to -15%, because somebody took their profit or rotated, and it's not a major extreme fundamental news change, it's probably going to bounce a little bit. And some coins, they bounce 3%, 6%, 5%. Some coins bounce 10, 15, 20%. That's crypto trading, as long as we manage the risk. So Cardano is making lower lows in this 4-hour and making higher highs on the momentum, although the RSI is not extremely doing well. Sometimes I like to check a stochastic RSI on a daily or a 4-hour just to give me a little bit of extra confirmation that, oh yes, it is down there. Because sometimes if I only look at RSI, this purple one, usually it can kind of trip me up, because if it gets stuck around 50 in the middle, it's not clear, not as clear of a signal to me as stochastic RSI, the orange and blue down here, because this is visually giving me actually a double bottom on this stochastic. So if I pair that with the MACD, then it gives me a little bit more confidence to possibly enter this trade or these types of trades. And if we add on to that, if we have a trend line, if it breaks that trend line above 83, 84 cents, I mean, this thing could bounce. Cardano's a hot crypto. Most people don't really think about it that way, but I see it that way. All right, so because it's near the trend line zone, and once it penetrates down below that trend line, if it doesn't dump, then it has to either go sideways or going to go up. So that's why, as long as we establish that support zone and I manage that risk on this potential setup of Cardano, it actually already bounced. The ATR is 4%, excuse me, ATR is 4 cents, which correlates to 4%. So then I have to target at least 4, 6, 8%. So 6% conservative, that's 86 cents. That's just poking out. It's like one of these. It's just going to rally and poke out just for a day, possibly. And then the bears are going to push it back. Maybe we pull back like that. Best case scenario, we have a rally. Worst case scenario is we have some kind of death cross, reject under here, only go about 1, 2%, and then crash below that. So something to watch out for. Let's rapid fire some other cryptos and then move on to stocks. So on the daily chart, I'll just turn off some drawings here. The crypto name is here in the upper right corner of the chart. Let's look at Solana. Solana's still in that golden up cross, just bounced off that 20 EMA. Remember last week, Solana ended up going 20%. So again, sometimes just playing that EMA bounce with confidence, and not just confidence, but position size, risk management. We literally bought the bottom of that. That was just beautiful. That's textbook. Okay. Crow, why is Crow up here? High volume. And because Trump administration, or Trump's companies, President Trump and his companies, I think it was DJT is going to utilize or stockpile Cronos. So, but Cronos, though, the news, if I didn't know about it, we had a EMA up cross. This is just such a strong looking stock. It made upside down head and shoulders. I actually did not play this one, so no FOMO on my part, but nice play. Pyth network, sometimes with these cryptos, when it goes extremely high like this, you want to stay away. want to stay away unless there's a very, very strong fundamental. I also play Link, had a very nice trade on this, but now it's actually showing a head and shoulders, so it's kind of suspicious. That 4 hour is still there as well, but Link is not as popular as Solana. Now, Doge, interesting. We see Doge here right above the 200 EMA with a little bit of that momentum, although there's a death cross. But if it holds above 21 cents, which it is for now, might be an interesting trade, because if we break out of that descending triangle that it was stuck inside, that measured move, use the drawings here, measured move could be 5%, maybe even 10% in a month. Sometimes, the first trade might only take like 2 days, but the rest of the trade could take 3 days. Sometimes it takes 4 days, 9 days, 2 weeks. But I like that Doge is holding above 21. We're not completely dumping, although there's a death cross there. Now, is this the most safest trade that I'm going to take? Probably not, because it's better that we need extreme crash so that it's easier to predict the bounce. But I like Zora. These are the this is my high volume list. That's why this list looks like out of order. But Pengu, even though it's in the Pudgy Penguins, is in the death cross. It was showing bullish momentum on the daily chart, although this is not 100% ready to go. But if Pudgy Penguins ever gets to about 0.025 or 0.026, that would be the actual anchored VWAP level. So I'm keeping an eye on that. You know what? Instead of me just talking about it, the better thing that I'm trying to make a habit of myself is just set alerts. I have so many alerts that I pay for. And it's easy, simple as that. Just put one on the bottom, put one on the top. Doesn't even have to be perfect. Just box that in there so that if it starts breaking out, I am aware of it. Sometimes not putting in 5 seconds of effort to put 4 alerts in, 5 alerts, sometimes you can miss the greatest trades or breakouts. All right, so Zora, 4 hour bullish momentum. Again, it might not go extreme, but the last time it was a 45%. That's a lot. Arrow, our darling Arrow coin. I like this, right? See that lower low on the price, RSI, that's a clean one. I like that one. MACD's already open. Okay, I might trade Arrow. Let's see. 10%. Let's go to something like Edge. And let's go to Edge where, let's see, lower low and then higher high in the MACD and the RSI, but it's not perfect. So you can see that some coins are a little bit better than others. Bonk here has I've been watching Bonk for a while, has a very large MACD histogram. Now, Bonk from its July 25 high, this is 100% a meme coin, down approximately 49%, and I like this big. I like big MACD histogram. Although it's not always perfect, because on something like MJ Cannabis stocks, for example, which were doing well, performing well in the past 3 months, but sometimes it just keeps crashing and this momentum keeps forming. So it's not 100% signal to just buy something. But for me, I'm getting suspicious, right? Because if it's downtrending and it stops going down a lot, as soon as it starts to turn around, double bottom or do something like that, I probably need to long this, and then the algos and the robots, and then the human traders will notice like, oh, we're actually bouncing back up. So it's something I'm watching for. There's a lot of setups here. It's just, honestly, which one has volume and is popular? All right, that finishes the crypto segment. Thanks for watching. Let's go to stocks. SPY, and we'll wrap up here. We'll just do a couple indexes. Stocks, there's a lot of data that's going to come out in the next 2 weeks regarding job data. We have, this is towards the end of the month, we have the FOMC meeting. We have triple witching Friday for options. And so we're watching for any news that's going to come out of specific corporations and the White House government. Right now, we're still in this daily uptrend of the EMA above 50 EMA is above the 200 EMA, still in this uptrend. It's a beautiful one in a rising wedge pattern. What I was saying about the 4-hour MACD bearish momentum is it's not even extreme. The indexes are not extreme right now, except maybe for Nasdaq, but it's just beginning to form. Higher in the price, a little bit of lower low in the momentum and the RSI, but the RSI is not way up here, which usually shows a bigger, usually we need a double bearish momentum and then we'll get the bigger drop. It's not even there yet, but it flagged on my scanner. So weekly is not showing any extreme in terms of double top or piercing out a Bollinger Band. It's just kind of stuck there, right above those EMAs. Nasdaq is a little bit different. We are seeing RSI pulling back. The momentum on the MACD is angling downwards and have a little bit of this just temporary, I'm going to call it, head and shoulders from companies like NVIDIA, etc., SMH, that's affecting the Qs on the price action. So in terms of the 4-hour, it did establish a lower high. This is actually turning into a symmetrical triangle here. And the measure move conservative of that is about 3%. We'll know this is real when we make another lower high, and then traders will probably short the break down of 567 to the downside. But it's not happening yet. Now, Dow Jones is actually breaking out. It's wonderful to see. So remember, as things are going in uptrend on these charts, there's always going to be a resistance or some kind of double top. That's just what happens. But once we have the golden cross, then the EMA is going to play high, low, high, low, high, low, high. So we keep going higher and then establish the next higher low about like 453 or something like that. So on the H4, there is not that much bearish momentum right now for Dow Jones. Russell 2000, it's a little bit different. The small caps are showing a little bit more of this bearish momentum. And it could just happen for literally one day only. And then the bots and the algos will just buy that oversold wherever. If it happens to dip even down to 232 or something, it's just going to bounce eventually. So these are very, very short-term bearish. These are not the end of the world bearish setups. XLF, been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. It's not extreme if the RSI was way up here in the 80s or 90s, or if we had some massive double top, triple top. But this is before tariffs, so this is probably still going to go up until it gets extreme. I wouldn't really short XLF until this really gaps up and breaks out above 55 or even 60 zone. This has to get really high up here, but it's just starting that beginning stage. Just want to make a note that my scanner, my screener, and my style, sometimes I'm like 2 weeks early. That's why. But I have plenty of time to prepare for trades. All right, so this is an example where some of my alerts will fire and alert me, but it's conflicting. So it's a daily up cross on Ford Motor after earnings. Just top line numbers, but it's good. This EPS revenue. High, low, high, low, high, but it's still reaching a potential double top area on both stochastic and the price. So that's why it's starting to trigger that there was some problem here. But it's not extreme. It's so early in the golden cross. This is actually going to probably, if it pulls back, maybe go down to about 1150 or 1155 zone and then try to keep rallying higher. So it's really up to large cap stocks and fundamental news announcement for this week. All right. So to end with the weekly watch list, today's Monday, September 1st, 2025. This week in stocks, it's a short trading week, only 4 days. We have earnings coming out from Nordic American Tankers, Zscaler, Neo, Signet Jewelers, some smaller companies, Dollar Tree, Macy's, American Eagle. Salesforce is going to be the big one. Figma because it's new IPO. Broadcom because chips. Computer chips. And economic data, we have a lot of job openings, employment change, unemployment claims, average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, unemployment rate. etc. Recent news for stocks, like I was saying, it's just a mixed bag of economic data and news events over the next 2 weeks. For crypto, however, it is interesting to see the number that corporate treasuries now reportedly now hold over 6% of Bitcoin's total supply. And that confirms, that news came out of CNBC, and I'm paraphrasing that news, but that does confirm what I've been feeling and seeing and thinking about on the charts, is that these crypto crashes that we're having, if this happened 5 years ago, we would crash 10, 20, 30% down on Bitcoin. But because we have corporate treasuries who are holding millions and billions of dollars now of Bitcoin, it's not going to crash 50% in 3 days unless there's an extreme catastrophe. Now the mindset is, okay, if I treat Bitcoin like gold, or I treat Bitcoin like Nvidia, or like a Magnificent Seven stock, which is kind of, it's not exactly the same, but it's more like, it's still a commodity, it's more like gold. But we're not going to have these massive flash crashes unless big whales, like we just saw, sell, take profit, or rotate, or if there's some kind of hack. But that might not happen until quantum computers are ready. So just remember that all these technical charts that I'm showing, I need to still manage my risk and position size, but technical chart events and setups can be overridden and canceled by breaking news and fundamental changes. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice week, and I'll see you in the next video.